So my name is Paul Roy, and I'm co-founder of CPA Business Coach with my partner on the screen here, Douglas Hoffman. And Doug and I met at a business coaching, convention. Was it 6 years ago now, Doug, I believe?
Yes, I think so, Paul.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 6 years ago. And Doug and I had met at that convention with our other partner, uh, Scott Lippett, and we just connected and did a lot of sharing. And then Doug and I got chatting at another convention a year later and said, we should be doing something to be working with accountants to help them become business coaches and get more engaged in their clients' business activities. And Doug said, yeah, I like the idea. Why don't we do this, Paul? So it's blossomed from there. It's taken us a while to build this out and understand our audience. But my history before I introduce Doug and tell a little bit about himself is that I've been a business owner for 25 of the last 40 years on the other side of the desk, and have hired and worked for many accountants or had accountants work for me. And I have now been a business coach full-time for 7 years and focusing mostly working with accountants and not just the accounting part of their business, but they're part of the business where they are are you running your accounting firm like a business? And also I specialize in working with contractors, helping them become more profitable, get their expenses and other things online. And so that's essentially what we do. And we work with a variety of accounting firms in North America, both Canada and the US, helping them with various aspects of their business. So that's it for me. I'll turn it over to Doug, who can take a minute and share his background and why I wanted to work with Doug.
All right. Well, thanks, Paul. Definitely your background complements mine very well. You have more on the private side and the operational side. I celebrated my 50th anniversary June 4th this year. So I guess I'm getting old, but hopefully better. Started out getting my MBA after graduating from my bachelor's degree. And at the same time, I got my CPA. I worked for Price Waterhouse. I went to Lake Placid and I was the corporate controller, or what you call nowadays CFO, for the Lake Placid Olympic Games in 1980. And at the same time I was there, I started a sole proprietor practice, CPA practice. And so I'm in my 46th year of that now. And we grew from just me to 4 offices in Northern New York. We have over 30 professionals. And one thing that we pride ourselves in is that we're a proactive CPA firm. We just don't fill out the tax returns and do the bookkeeping and financial statements and auditing, but we do a proactive business advisories and coaching service for our clients. And that brings us up to today. And I work with Paul and Scott in the CPA Business Coach.com to help other CPA firms do better and serve their clients better.
Thank you, Doug. And before we get to this, because Doug had talked about the proactive side of his accounting firm, and now not just him with his partners, helping their clients grow and prosper and helping them for their future decisions, not just advising them on where they've been. But when you look at this and you say, when you're reviewing your clients' financial statements, how often have you seen coaching services or consulting services and asked yourself, well, I could have helped them do that, or why didn't they ask me? And that's really what was some of the reason that Doug and I, when we put our heads together with Scott to get this going, was really part of this. How can accountants get more engaged with their clients? They do like you, they do trust you. It's a perfect match. So what I'd like to do is bring up, we're just going to do a screen share here, and I'll be asking Doug some questions in terms of things that we need to consider and look for when we're working on our accounting business. And it's not just the numbers, but how we manage it. And the same things that you'll learn in running your own accounting business, you should be also learning to help your clients with their business. So without further ado, 5.5 steps. We've got a couple of bonus things we're going to discuss. Again, when we go 5.5 steps, and I go, what are Paul and Doug thinking about? What's a half a step? But we need to find ways to differentiate ourselves and to attract attention that we need to, of course, be able to back up with our skills. So what we're going to go through today is understand why people leave the firm, define and communicate where the firm is headed and where they fit, provide a clear path for advancement for your team members, a collaborative environment, a culture, continuous improvement at its core, set clear expectations and give people the knowledge, training, resources, and tools, and to raise your pay rates so you can pay your staff more. So Doug, how about sharing why do team members with over your 50 years in the accounting business, why do they leave firms? What's the main reason?
Well, I think the main reason has to do more with probably in the older days was that the public accounting translated into long hours and sometimes 24/7 with no personal life. That just doesn't fit the young generation these days. So that's one of the big reasons that we lost over the long term. But I think you have quite a few of the points here that I learned by the hard way, is that you do have to pay attention to your employees. You have to give them what they want. You have to understand what they want and be able to deliver that.
And if I can elaborate on giving them what they want, but of course that all has to be substantiated, and because some people have a nature, of course, to ask for the moon, and maybe they only should get a half a moon or a quarter of a moon. And so it's just more than that. It's understanding, I think, if I'm hearing you correctly, understanding their needs and what motivates them and how to fulfill their needs.
It's a win-win situation. Obviously, you're not going to bend over backwards and give them everything they need, but if you give them the opportunity to reach their goals and at the same time help the firm reach their goals, then it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, exactly. And remember that the skills that we're talking about here within your own firm are also skills, once you've mastered them within your own firm, that you can help your own clients with who may be struggling with high employee turnover or meeting. Yeah. So it's not just within your own firm, it's how you can help your clients.
Absolutely.
So when we define and communicate where the firm is going and how they fit, if the firm itself needs clear goals and a path, a roadmap, shall we say, to achieve their goals, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. But it's through having this transparency with your new employees or existing people. What are the goals and what are the desires of the firm? And that what role do these people play within the firm of helping the firm grow? And that, of course, they get to grow along with the firm. Anything else you'd like to add with that, Doug?
No, like I said, the key is win-win. You want the firm to be successful and profitable. Otherwise, it's a downward spiral. And you want the employees to see that there's room for them in the future that is going to be rewarding to fit their goals.
Okay. And when providing a clear path for advancement, with, of course, onboarding new people, but what about firms that haven't been providing this advice to their staff? How do you go about starting this? You're in business 5 years, and you really, that your staff has been so busy that you haven't had an opportunity to have these conversations. How do you go about starting this process, Doug?
Well, I think you have to get to your calendar and book time each week to spend on this, because if you don't, each day and each week and each month is going to slip by before you know it. Years are going to slip by, and employees are going to slip out the door. So it's just like I try to equate that type of thinking to a lumberjack out chopping down trees. If he doesn't take time to sharpen his axe every once in a while, his productivity is going to drop to zero, because all he's going to have is a sledgehammer eventually.
That's a great analogy. And it's true. And if we can go back to, Stephen Covey's book about where you spend your time, and the real success in a business is spending time in important but non-urgent. And so often accountants have such a workload. I'll get to that when I have time, which rarely happens because of the workload that they have. And I think, to review what you said there, that scheduling the time and sticking to it is the important piece. Put it in your diary, schedule the time with your team members, whether it's a group or on the one-on-one. Yeah. Sharpen the axe.
Absolutely.
And creating a collaborative environment. What are some of the things that you did over the years, Doug, in terms, I know we've got some bullet points here, that you did with your team members to create that collaborative thing? Did you pick up and learn and implement over your years in the business in terms of a practice leadership?
Well, I think communication is the key to it. As you're pointing out already, is that you have to clearly identify and communicate to your team what the goals are of the firm, and then also sit down and let the team members each individually tell you what their goals are. We talked about having plenty of room for advancements and growth, but there's some key employees that are very happy to grow to a point and then just stay there. And they can be very productive employees, but if you're trying to push them to where they don't want to go, you could be pushing them out the door. So understand what each individual employee wants out of their job and where they want to go, and then help them by either showing them the path, education, and on-the-job training to get them to where they want to be.
Yeah, but it starts with having the conversation and asking them.
Absolutely.
And genuinely listening.
And genuinely probing below the surface, because it's just like interviewing an employee. All of us have been there. The employee will tell you what you want to hear. Ask questions that do the deeper dive to get the real feeling of what they want, and have them be trusting you enough to expose that deep feeling.
Yeah. And that's so important, because in today's tight market, I mean, there's a shortage of accountants, and especially CPAs. And we have to be cautious that when somebody shows up the door and they're willing to work, that it is the right person to, you just can't go, oh my God, we've got somebody who can crank out some more work. But it's more important to have the right person come in, and to be patient, and to make sure that person's a fit to the firm.
Oh, that's a very good point, because if you bring in the wrong person, it could be sand pedal in your shoe that's going to cause the worst irritation that you ever thought of.
It was funny, it's so true, but I look at the bottom line here and hand out check stubs, and that's, something that, it's all done electronically now, but you may have an envelope which expresses what the pay was there. And I'd spent 8 years actually outside of being self-employed, helping a call center go from being a regional firm to a national firm. And part of my remuneration was a revenue share and commission. And every time I got a check that was bigger than the last check that I'd ever gotten, the owner of the company came into my office and put it on my desk and said, "Thank you." And, it wasn't, "Oh my God, I'm parting with more money," but "Thank you for helping us be part of this growth." So
that's a good point, Paul. One of the things I tell my coaching clients, whether it's a CPA firm or a business, is read the 1 Minute Manager. I mean, that's an old book, but it's spot on. It's very important to not only point out things that go wrong, but point out things that go right.
Yeah.
And the bottom line in that book is, if you're the leader, when you come in, don't just go to your desk and work all day. Take a few minutes to go around and say hi to everybody and ask them how they're doing.
Yeah.
And also ask them what you can do to help them do it better.
Yeah. People want to be appreciated, especially staff members. Yeah. Absolutely. And as we say, bringing them in the front door is one thing. It's closing the back door to keep them from leaving. Yeah. Is just, part of what you just shared is all part of that process.
Yeah.
And we're going to set expectations, support the realization, and not only the corporate goals, but work with them on what their goals are.
Mm-hmm.
And as you shared, not all of them want to be partner. Not all good accountants want to go out and sell and bring in new accounts. They just want to do the work. They want to be happy. Not all accountants are introverts and not all accountants are extroverts. And some of the staff may choose not to come to the staff barbecue, but they shouldn't be made to feel outside because they don't want to come. But odds are, if the team is happy and they're there, those who generally wouldn't attend will attend because they will feel part of the team.
Mm-hmm.
So here's something here. Now we're into 0.5.5 and we got a couple of bonus things. And I'm going to turn it over to you, the pro on setting rates.
Well, before we get into that, one of the things that we learned to do over the years is integrate goals, both on the firm point of view and the individual point of view, integrate them into bonus programs so that you achieve the goals, both goals, the employees' goals and the firm goals, and you reward them for that. You mentioned it in your business that you helped to grow, that you have a revenue sharing. Well, same thing. Each employee is a profit center, and if they can increase the profit of their individual productivity, and at the same time be a team member that helps the entire team increase the productivity of the firm and the profitability of the firm, then reward them for that. And what this 5.5 falls right into that is that the first thing you want to look at is, are you charging enough? Because if you're managing your firm by the numbers, which you all have to do anyway to be profitable, you can only pay the employees so much. But if you pay them based on their performance and their effective billing rates, how much is chargeable, how much is billable by each employee, the more that they can increase that, you want to make sure that you're paying them more. And the thing that when we get into coaching CPA businesses, we find, and this is true with all businesses, everybody that's running a business is afraid to increase their fees or their prices because they're afraid of losing business. But you're going to find that you may lose business, but the overall cash flow is going to increase because if you're providing value, the employees or the clients are going to stay with you. And so pay your employees what they're worth. When we went through the pandemic in our firm, we found out the hard way that once the other CPA firms around the country learned how to work remotely, we've been working remotely for 30 years, but a lot of other firms weren't, and they found out that it worked very well. We lost 4 employees that went to work for firms around the country remotely, and they offered them big bucks to do that. And that was a hard lesson for us to learn, is that, we're a regional firm in Northern New York, but when you start losing employees to Los Angeles and other big cities around the country, they're going to pay them what Los Angeles is paying in wages, not what rural America and Northern New York is paying.
Yeah, that's
And
an
so
excellent point.
The only way we could counter that is we had to raise our rates to pay national salary rates, and the clients that weren't going to stick with us, we had to take that chance, or else we would not have retained the rest of our employees.
Wow. But it's an extremely powerful point. Is now, when you talk about that, you need to have the revenue to pay for good people. And what I'm hearing, and the light bulb just came on, and even though you may be in a more rural area and up, in northern New York, you still have to almost pay the same rate, as somebody in New York City or in Los Angeles.
Absolutely. Otherwise, they're going to hire your people away from you.
Yeah. All the more reason to have that contact and that relationship with your employees to make it sticky. They stay.
Yeah. And as far as losing clients, look at the Pareto concept. 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your clients.
Yep. And it's proven time and time again that, and the amount of time that we put in for a time, I'm going to use the term straight up and blunt, a time sucking client who takes forever to pay you and questions your bill, and go find a client that appreciates what you do, and you'll be further ahead.
Absolutely.
So to be able to do that, the market dominating position, as to some people may not recognize that, or what we call the USP, which is a unique selling proposition. But with the market dominating position is, why would somebody want to come and work for you? What is it that you do with your firm that is different, that will want them to come? Whether it's remote working, whether it's the work-life balance, whether you pay overtime after so many hours of work, you don't have to sell. It's, especially in this environment, there's so much work. A lot of new prospective people don't want to sell and don't need to. But it's the same thing, Doug, and I know you would agree, and we're just coming down to the last few minutes here, but it's that the same thing that we would advise our clients on helping them to find their ideal clients. What you just shared with us, Doug, was that the firm also needs to know who their ideal clients are.
Absolutely.
And what is it that you do for them? Why do you like working with them? And go, oh my goodness, how do we get more of these clients? And it's there, you'll find your real value. So
absolutely.
Innovate to become the employer of choice. I'm not going to go through all the bullet points. but it's again, and we're just coming into time to wrap up here. We're 27 minutes past. And I do want to take a couple of questions if there are any. So we're going to innovate to become an employer of choice and the benefits of joining your firm. In other words, why would you want to come and work at your firm? And what are some of the things that you've done after the pandemic, Doug, to share? And not that everybody's going to come and do it, but what would you be advising your other CPA firm clients that you're coaching?
Well, we implemented not only raises, but we implemented the goals, the firm goals and the individual goals with the bonus reward system tied into it. And therefore we were able to give the employees more money, but also reward them for helping the firm make it through the pandemic and be profitable going forward and to grow to the next level.
And that starts with having a conversation, but also understanding what your firm's benefits are to the potential people. Yeah.
And you have to build up trust in that area, because you have to give goals that are achievable. And you may have to, we actually have 2 or 3 layers of goals. One of them, I think of, well, if they're breathing and they're here, they might get something.
If they've got a pulse, they're getting something. Yeah.
But it's not that simple, but it is. The concept is you don't want to make the goals so far-reaching that they're shooting for the moon and they never get there.
Yeah, there's a difference between a stretch goal and reaching for the moon. Yeah.
Right.
And as practice owners or people in the accounting business, I mean, there is a soft side to accounting. It's just not all numbers, all facts. We are humans who generate numbers on behalf of our clients, and we generate numbers on behalf of our firms. And so it's worthy to take the time to polish on your soft skills. And you mentioned it, the 1-minute manager, some very basic things that you should be doing every day to interface with your clients.
And your employees.
Pardon me, your employees, yes. And just going to do a little pitch here, and then when I stop the screen share, any questions that you may have for Doug or myself, we can be reached at Paul at CPA Business Coach, or my calendar link is there. And what I'll do is with those, and also you can reach out to Doug and I through our website at cpabusinesscoach.com. And we'll have a 20-minute no obligation conversation to see if we can help you. Because if we can't, we'll tell you. And this is something that you do within your own clients. Oh my God, it's a new client. Let's get them and do what you need to do. But I mean, you need to interview your new clients just like you're interviewing a new person. And Doug, if you can put your contact information in the chat box, are you able to do that? I don't know if I can see it from this screen.
It's on the screen right now.
Yep.
But I'll put it there too. It's dlh@hegcpas.com.
Yeah. And you can click those links, the hyperactives, or if you want to email us, it will automatically go to your mail server. So, Eric, Mira, Tim, Tom, any questions that you'd like to ask of the captain of the industry, Doug, somebody who's gone from 1 to a 4-office firm and has hired and fired more people, I'm certain, in his lifetime. And also to share that Doug just only isn't a CPA. He has multiple businesses that he runs, whether it's in real estate, financial planning companies, B&B hotels. Doug is an entrepreneur. He's not your typical go to work in the morning CPA and go home. He's passionate about business.
Yeah, our family and adult children, we have 13 businesses going between us.
So there it is. Click the link if you want to have a chat with Doug or myself, and we'll see if we can help you in any other way. So we're just 3 minutes past the hour. Doug, thank you for sharing all your wisdom and expertise, and thank you for those who have attended. We're going to sign off. Have a great day. There was one question.
Oh, okay.
I agree. There we go. Tim, thank you. I agree with your presentations, but sometimes it's difficult to turn this cruise ship. Maybe a smaller ship is in our future so we can be more flexible. Doug,
Yeah,
you want to?
with 30 employees, I understand your pain. Sometimes you have to crawl before you walk, and you have to walk before you run. But taking the time, like I said, if you devote half an hour, even a week to it, you can start to turn the Titanic away from the iceberg.
Yeah, it's exactly it. And I think I mentioned it, back a few slides back, pardon me, is that we have to spend more time in the important but not urgent. The more time you don't spend planning and working on your business, the more trouble you're going to have down the line chasing what it is that you should have spent time on months ago. So thanks again, Doug. Thank you for those who attended, and have a wonderful day and have a profitable day.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.